innocent black man is killed by a white cop who's part of a law enforcement agency that's corruptly held together by a lot of red tape, the citizens rise up and revolt against this clearly infringement on their rights and clear discrimination that they're seeing play out in this corrupt system. And then some people that are in a higher power decide that they're going to use all of this antagonism to their own benefit to become more powerful and to gain profit off the citizens. So wow, welcome to America, a home of the free. Hey guys, and welcome back to News for Idiots. I'm here with a little bit more news for you. As you know, there's a lot of things going on in your country today. What I really want to get into in the show is what's really going on behind the George Floyd protest, because I think it's really important for us to wake up to what's happening behind the surface level. So what you're hearing from your mainstream media, which is their typical rhetoric, which is very surface and very like what they want you to hear. So what they're saying is that people are protesting over the death of George Floyd, a black man who was killed by a white police officer. This part is correct. This did happen. The second thing the media is telling you is that there are protesters who are protesting for justice for George Floyd, and then there's also dangerous protesters that are creating riots, burning down buildings, and wreaking havoc on your city. So this is also true. And then the third thing that the media is not telling you is why. Why are there two groups of people fighting each other on the streets of your cities all across America, to the point where now your law enforcement and government officials are setting curfews, are bringing in military, and are bringing in the National Guard? So what you're looking at is their typical scam of division. United we stand, divided we fall. What they're doing is, again, dividing the people so that the people spend time fighting each other instead of time fighting the real problem, which is the corrupt system. So now you have people fighting each other. These are the bad protesters, we're the good protesters. These are the bad protesters, we're the good protesters. This is not confirmed, but there are a lot of rumors I'm hearing from my various sources that are saying basically that there's a lot of plants that are being planted into these protests that are supposed to cause antagonism between two sides of the protests. You know, the people that are justice for George Floyd and the people that are we want to destroy communities that the people who are protesting for justice for George Floyd live. So you have those two camps, you have people planted that are made to create an antagonistic type of disagreement. So what does this mean for you exactly? These organizations, these networks of people that are above level of cop, that are on a higher axis of power in terms of controlling countries and controlling entire societies of people, want people to be divided and fighting each other right now. So the question that we need to ask is, why do they want us to be fighting each other? We know the saying, united we stand, divided we fall. So every time that you see yourself being divided in a way that you're fighting another group instead of fighting the corrupt government, realize they want that. They don't want you to focus on them. So ultimately, like, that's their main goal, is for us to fight each other, for us to focus on each other instead of focusing on the real problem, which is how corrupt actually the law enforcement problem is. And maybe even deeper, which is, do we actually need police? Do we actually need law enforcement? Is law enforcement helping us, or is law enforcement controlling us? I personally think that humans as a society are conscious enough to govern ourselves without some sort of barbaric law enforcement system that's going to use physical force to kill us. I really think that we're better than that. So I guess, long story short, there's another layer to these protests, which basically insinuates that there is a party of people that are in a higher power that are benefiting off of people being divided right now and fighting each other in some sort of distraction. So now they've got us distracted from what? Like, could this be a setup for them to employ like military and National Guard to cities without making people afraid, because we're under the assumption that these personnel are here to protect us. Below kind of the surface of what you're seeing playing out is that this is almost like a stage show that's meant to distract you from something else that they're using the stage show to create. I don't have all the details on the end game and like why this is happening. It's playing off of somehow this pandemic. So you have this pandemic that happens that imposes like some rules. People kind of start to see through the cracks of the pandemic, and now suddenly there's this huge like all of your cities are on fire type of thing, and we need to send in more National Guards and more military to protect you. Like it's all under the guise of protecting the people. Law enforcement, prison, it's basically like a modern day racism, and it's extremely discriminatory, it's extremely corrupt, and it's not being used for the purpose of protecting people. It's being used for the purpose of controlling people. So this is the bottom, the truth of what is wrong here, correct? And so now you're being thrown into this distraction of like, we have to fight these people and these are the bad protesters, but like what are they distracting you from? Probably the fact that the entire system is corrupt. So when it comes to advice that I have on how to deal with this, try to not put any antagonistic energy into another side. You can definitely go out and protest peacefully if you feel like that's what you're called to do. I do think that fighting against this largely corrupt, red tapey, moldy pile of a system that existed before us in terms of law enforcement isn't going to get us a lot of changes. I don't think this is a system that we can push against to enact the kind of large-scale change that we need. I think we need a new system. So my recommendation is not to push against an old, clearly corrupt system with a lot of people in power who are just clinging to their last bit of power. I would recommend starting a new system. Try to develop new ways to control crime or new ways to rehabilitate criminals, because of this like law enforcement system that we've seen in the past, it's not conducive to our society. It's not helping us in any way. It's at best controlling us, and it's at worst killing people and killing certain groups of people and keeping a race war going. So if you have a system that's set up to be kind of like a modern day slavery, I wouldn't try to fix that. I would create something better so that this loses its energy and is no longer needed. Because there's so many better ways that we could be rehabilitating criminals. There's so many better ways that we could be healing our society, keeping our society safe through measures that don't involve police officers having the right to use physical force on somebody. And so if you're watching this, I want you to know that you are smart and you can come up with a better system. Literally anybody could come up with a better system. This system's so bad. Like my cat could come up with a better system. Like it's not gonna be hard to beat the system that is. It's that bad. Like honestly, like whatever you come up with, like it's better than what's happening. So just come up with something, because fixing the old system at this point in time isn't gonna work. This system is beyond fixing. It's like cancer tumor stage 11. Like you gotta let this system die, and then we have to create a better system. So let's take our energy out of fighting this old system and let's put this energy into creating a new system. All right? That's what the news isn't gonna tell you to do. Get out there and just create a beautiful new law enforcement system that's rainbows and sunshine. It makes us all happy. Create some cops that when you see the cops, you're like, ah, cops. Those are the kind of cops that I wanna see. And if you have any ideas, or if you have any questions on anything, or if you need my help, because I'm always down to start like a new police force somewhere, like let's go and do it. Just let me know, hit me up in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.